liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Oh, we got to turn the microphone.
Oh. So item number 2 on our agenda is consent items. All matters listed under the consent items have been distributed to each member of the commission for reading and study. I would entertain a motion for items A, B, and C.
So moved.
And seconded?
Have a motion made to accept items A, B, and C on the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 3.
I move that we accept the action items, general fund vouchers, $9,765.61.
Have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Do you want all three? Want me to read all three?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, let's do all three. Payroll vouchers, $15,177.02. Water fund vouchers, $217.58.
And I second?
Have a motion with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Commissioner reports. Judy?
Pretty short, I didn't do a huge amount, except that we did go to the Suncadia annual spring meeting. Actually, you guys did a lot more work than I did, giving some connections about, matter of fact, our insurance issues, which was great. Appreciate that. Mostly, I just also want to say that June 13th, there is a Mason County Corridor Sketch Phase 2 workshop. If anybody would like to go, I would suggest that you go. It's at the Public Works Building in Shelton. And one of the focuses that I'm going to suggest about is Highway 300 problems, about the bridge and no walking paths, no bike paths.
Excuse me.
And rough road. And then June 16th is the Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization Tour. This tour is all the projects that have been funded by the PRTPO grants. And, you know, we could probably qualify for some of the grants, so we'll
Right.
keep going with that. That's it for me.
I as well had port meetings and ×2. Went to the spring conference in Cleellum, Suncadia. Went to some good seminars on taxation, bonding. Went to one on outreach and communications. And the big one there that I think that the direction they're going to go is they have funding for an outreach person. So they're going to look to hire a full-time person to help the small ports, large ports with outreach and basically marketing. And they said in the past they've had a marketing person that gets hired as a marketing person, but then winds up doing all the other duties as assigned. But it was really important to the board president that if they hire a marketing person, that person concentrates on marketing. I did have this. I thought this was pretty interesting, and I'm going to leave it here for people to look at, but it's they hired a marketing company to create this, what ports do, and in this 2-page document, it just kind of says this is what they've done across 75 port districts across 33 counties. They've 36,700 direct jobs, 16,300 commercial aviation jobs, 10,600 direct jobs in maritime, 4,400 tourism jobs, 3,300 terminal jobs. I just thought, and then they give the average wage, so they're good paying jobs that the ports are providing out there. So I just thought I'd leave that to share.
Is that just like a generic one?
That's the one they had there at the conference.
Oh, yeah,
And I
it
thought
is pretty much a generic.
Yeah, it's generic. It's not specific to
I like that.
any port.
Do you think maybe that would be more designed though for a larger port?
Oh, sure. Yeah. We didn't get 10,600 jobs here.
If you don't mind, I wanted to piggyback on the outreach one too that you said, because some of them remember me asking about trying to get a hold of our schools and seeing if we can do something with them and help them market us.
Yeah,
And
no, that
so
was
that's
good.
something that I'm glad that you brought that up, because I know school's about ready to be out, but next year maybe we can get some students to do something for marketing for the ports and let's teach them about ports. So anyway.
Yeah, no,
Thanks.
that's great. That's pretty much it for me.
I didn't go to the spring conference. I just had the 2 meetings. And, we don't always get workshops in because just scheduling and we had a very productive workshop, I thought, and looking to the future of the port and talking about things that we need to do going forward, which I thought was a really good discussion. That's it.
Executive Director's Report.
All right, annual report. Our annual report was due May 31st. We were able to do the report online, and the online forms tell you if there's any errors, what they are, and where they are. Leanne did this entirely by herself, got it completed early and submitted early, and I just wanted to acknowledge her for a
Is that the first time that we
difficult
did it online?
job, well done.
Oh, no,
No.
no, we were one of the first entities to do it though, on time. 4
Yay.
years
Nice.
ago when they started.
Is it a lot easier to do it online?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
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 So she did a great job, and I just wanted to be sure that
Thank
you
you.
all know that. Schedule 22 and policy and procedures updates. As you know, we're plowing through the 130 items covered in this, many of which are housekeeping items, but there are some policy and procedure changes required. You approved some resolutions on May 22nd related to this, and there are more on tonight's agenda. Once we've completed the Schedule 22 process, I think we should undertake a complete review of all of our policies and procedures and update them not only as called for in the resolutions, but look at and update all of them as needed. I expect that to take between 9 and 10 months from the time we finish Schedule 22, but I think it's something that needs to be done. As recommended in Schedule 22, we have applied to U.S. Bank for credit cards. As per U.S. Bank's contract with the Department of Enterprise Services, these have a lower interest rate than we pay our current provider. They're general use cards for you all and myself, and one specifically for fleet vehicles. We also receive annual rebates on both cards for the charges that we've made. So
Those will be in place of the Kitsap Bank ones we have.
What
Pretty
can the
much.
rebates be used for?
Pardon?
What can the rebates be used for?
I'm going to go back to general fund.
Oh, okay.
So.
Do we just pay those off, though? Does
Yeah, we
the
pay them
interest-
every month,
Okay,
but you get a rebate for however much you spend.
okay. Well, that's great, yeah.
And over the course of a year, we spend a fair amount on our credit cards. Criminalization of marina rules. As you know, in 2015, you adopted a resolution concerning criminalization of our marina rules. Rob Johnson vetted them. We made the changes he suggested, and he sent them to the county commissioners for approval. Well, it turns out the clerk of the board never put them on the commissioner's agenda for approval. We discovered this inadvertently at the WPPA conference at Suncadia. I spoke with Commissioner Netherland about this. He said they have a new clerk who's much more efficient, and to resend them, which I did, and he'll make sure it moves forward. Website update. We're just about finished updating our website. We've simplified it by eliminating things that didn't get really used and reorganized it in a more user-friendly way. We still need to add the public records request form. Should have that in place shortly. We've also linked it to our Facebook page, and it's scalable for mobile. Skateboard park. Gene suggested we look into the idea of building a skateboard park. I've written a letter to the Beards Cove Association manager asking about covenants, restrictions, and similar issues. He agreed to present it to the Homeowners Association board to see if they're even interested in having this there at their next meeting. He emailed me on Friday and told me he presented it, but they hadn't made a decision yet. Water system issues. Todd Kraus at Northwest Water Systems has assigned this to a subordinate. However, he told me a month ago the May 30 submission date was still viable depending on some additional documentation he needs. I told Steve Holloway to find and send what he was requesting. What I didn't know was Steve was going to be out of town for 3 weeks on personal business, as he never notified us of that. I sent everyone involved in this an email on Friday saying I assumed we were ready to submit, which I know we're not. I told them to get me dates so we can finalize this and have a meeting to get it submitted. That seems to have ignited a fire under the participants, so we'll see where it goes. Frankly, I'm about out of patience with Northwest Water Systems. As I noted previously, I've kept Joe Brogan in the loop for all of our communications just in case we have to eventually file a claim of some sort. which if Northwest Water System doesn't get off the dime, it looks like we may have to before this is all said and done. Also, our water system franchise agreement with Mason County is up for renewal this year. Excuse me. County has a total of 27 agreements that need to be renewed this year. However, we don't yet know if we're in the June, July timeframe or September, October group. We don't have to do anything more than we've already done at the moment. They'll send us information when we get closer. We've already obtained an updated evidence of coverage insurance from Honduras, and the county will send us their required form when it's time, so we're good to go at the moment. Gazebo bricks. While we could have added 26 of the larger bricks, we can't find a place to buy them. I've looked online, as has Don, and the supplier of the smaller bricks, Mutual Materials. We can find tiles, but those don't match in color or texture. So we elected just to add more smaller bricks. We'll make enough on sale of what we've committed to cover our cost, and we can just do this annually until they're sold out. Cost of the project is approximately $4,000 to do it with the smaller bricks. Revenue is $15,800 for an estimated $11,800 profit when totally sold out, but we'll be good this year to pay for it. Derelict vessel, we found out that because of our time rate structure for winter moorage at the North Shore, we can't bill DNR at the $1 per foot per day rate at Allyn. We can only charge the same monthly rate we do at the North Shore. DNR will still reimburse us for 90% of our costs, which will amount to around $1,100. We've submitted all the appropriate paperwork, hopefully see some money soon.
Are we getting any money currently?
Yes, she's paying us.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking, the DNR is gonna reimburse our costs for advertising.
Is she gonna take it and tow it away and fix it then?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's her goal. She's really emotionally married to that boat. I mean, she's got a history with it.
Oh, cool.
She came in here on the day of the auction with a stack of stuff this tall to do with it, including pictures when it was in pristine condition.
Birth certificates,
So she was really a good person to get it.
and she's a Boy Scout.
Eberhard legal cost reimbursement. As I reported our May 22nd special meeting, I spoke with our representative from Honduras. He assured me we'd receive the check shortly. He would send me documentation for it. However, I never received either. So I called over there and spoke to the claims manager inquiring about the check. She told me in no uncertain terms that we weren't covered for legal fees. I told her I'd been working with our representative for several months, and he said we were. Also told her that I had gathered and submitted a great deal of documentation to him because he'd been assuring me all through this process we were indeed covered. This was on a Friday. When our claims representative came to work on Monday, he was fired over this. Other Honduras issues. While at the WPPA meeting in Cle Elum, I connected with Joe Davis, who's their risk manager and underwriter. He's agreed to come over here, do a complete risk assessment on all our facilities and processes, sit down with us to detail exactly what coverages we have, what we don't, what other services they offer that we could possibly take advantage of, which there are numerous ones. And he's looking to coordinate the dates with some other visits to this side of the state. So I'll be talking with him sometime this coming week, nail down the dates.
When's the last time that's been done, do you know?
I do not know, but I suspect probably 10 years or more.
Well, Mark came out when Rusty started.
Oh, did he? Okay, well, see, that's
How
news to
often
me.
should that be done?
I think every couple of years, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy a software upgrade. We're still planning on moving forward with this, with July 1st set as a date to start the conversion. However, what that will entail is us filling out spreadsheets and other paperwork so they can get us set up. Once we're set up, we'll begin training. Our actual conversion date will be January 1, 2018. So we'll be on QuickBooks till year's end. I also talked with her about payments. We don't have to make the first half of the $48,1875 annual fee till next year. So we can incorporate that into the 2018 budget. We'll have to make the $38.05 one-time startup fee sometime near the end of this year. Depending on the setup and training times, they will invoice us near the end of those. And then we have 30 days from billing, so it's entirely possible that none of this could come due this year when all's said and done. We haven't been billed, or it can be paid in 2018, and if so, I'll budget for that.
So can you go online with this bias software? Like, let's say you were home. Let's say
Yeah.
let's say you were snowed in.
Yeah, the whole
and you
thing,
can't get to work.
is online.
So you-
Web-based.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
you could do that from home?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Public records issue, we continue in the holding pattern on this for the moment. Convinced the best, most workable solution appears what we originally concluded, converting our existing documents to OCR electronic files that can be read with keyword software, storing them in the cloud for future retrieval. This should be a fairly easy solution to implement once we find a cost-effective vendor. We originally thought Kelly Imaging offered the most viable option, but was too pricey. We've talked to and done webinars with a number of other potential vendors, but after talking to them all, Kelly is looking like the best priced, although they exceed our established public records budget. Meanwhile, I'm continuing to research other vendors, so we're on hold for a little longer. New computer for Leanne. We're continue to have some issues trying to migrate all of Leanne's data from her old machine to the new one. All the cloud-based data is moved, but it's the older data in QuickBooks is giving us continual trouble, as evidenced by all our problems on Friday and again today. Renting out the small office, when this was brought up 2 months ago, there was no real consensus about moving forward on this or in exactly what way or not. So I'd like y'all to maybe discuss that. Entrepreneurial classes, we're still continuing to hold these here and had one here this afternoon. Coder Dojo classes, to be totally honest, I haven't had much time to work on this. It's also in a holding pattern for now. I expect to be able to focus on it again shortly because it's something I strongly believe in. But with the school year coming to an end, I'm thinking maybe it's going to be best to wait till school starts again or right before to start ramping that up again. ROII, this is finally moving forward. I took the required safety class last week, and I got notice today that we have been approved by Allyn. They also have some personnel policies we should look at and explore adopting. They've sent me copies of them, and we can work on them when we look at the rest of our policies and procedures. I attended the LTAC meeting last week. Seems they've eliminated all funding for what we wanted to do, but we can approach the agency of record with our needs and the features and advantages of using our wedding venues, and they'll incorporate it in their marketing materials. I will attempt to meet with them next time they're in this area. They're headquartered in Hood River, Oregon. Come here only periodically. The next LTAC meeting is July 27th.
So I have a question on this. I served on this committee. The lodging tax money for this county was to be dispersed amongst the different things like Allyn Days or
Right.
things that went
They've
throughout the
completely
county.
eliminated doing that.
Yep,
And where's the money going?
it's going to the marketing people in Hood River.
And where's
Yeah,
that
it's
money
going to Hood
going?
River.
And where's that money going?
Down to
Again.
Oregon, I know.
Yeah, so
It's ludicrous.
I haven't really seen anything as a resident or as a commissioner that's coming back as tourism for our area. So the question is, where's that money going?
Exactly.
And I think that question needs to be
I-
posed, yeah.
It's been asked, and
That's a lot of money,
oh, I know it is.
Yeah.
I know it is.
yeah.
Question's been asked, and that's why, I wanted to go after some of it.
Yeah,
And they're kind of,
there's no answer to the question?
yeah, very evasive about it.
We need to
You
get some
know,
new board members on that.
It's going to a company called the Blue Collar Agency, and that's headquartered in Hood River.
Right, I know.
And they've done the Explore Hood Canal website and some other stuff. And everybody seems thrilled with them, but
I haven't seen
I personally have
anything-
heartburn
yeah.
about sending that money out of state.
I do too.
I agree.
And I haven't seen anything that they have done to support the different festivals in the county, all the way from the north to the south. And there's all different kinds of, all the way over in Hittsport, all the way.
Like
well,
you said,
yeah.
it should go
Yeah.
to these festivals
Yeah.
locally. It
Yeah.
should go back to
What's
the
on the
community.
website they produced, the Explorer Hood Canal website?
I'll have to look at it, I'll tell you the truth, I don't know.
I know the Allyn Community
look at it.
Association, good for Allyn Days, got.
It's got a list of the
quite a bit.
festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that. I did look at it once, but I don't remember everything on it. But it has a list of some of the festivals and some of the other things going on here. But
Some of them, like
You
I
know,
served.
I'm not sure it's worth what they're paying for.
Is it linked to the Chamber's website?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I've been on there too.
That's part of the issue is.
Some of
chambers
these,
and-
I served with 2 terms on as. on-
Now Stephanie's real high on
And
it.
some of the festivals are really small, like in Union, but they're really great little festivals.
Do you day?
Yeah, really small ones, you know, but they've got a lot of history behind the festivals and the money really helped them. So it's
Well, I would agree, it shouldn't be going down to blue collar.
You know, I was trying to get money for marketing our wedding venues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but,
So who's going to ask the question? Where's
Well-
the money going?
well, I
July
asked it
27th
at the
is
LTAG meeting.
another board
and
meeting,
Got a
so
non-answer.
LTAC board
You got
meeting.
no answer.
I think so. Is that what that?
This is what they've decided to do.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
That's
I got.
fine, but where's the money going? You know, and is it coming back to our county?
That's the question. Nobody wants to answer it. Don't be sorry.
I need to ask that
I'm of the
question.
same mind as you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Trade show booth, we're working on a professional looking trade show booth to replace that one we use now. Going to use several pop-up stands like we already have. Once they're finished, I'll bring them to a meeting and set them up for you all to see. Power and water at the Allen Marina. As I reported previously, I came across an RCO grant for exactly this type of project. Now it's been submitted. I have until July 2nd to tweak it up and finalize it. Our grant, RCO grant advisor, or RCO grant advisor, that's a typo, notified us the section that would cover paving our parking lots is out of the scope of the grant and has to be eliminated. So I'll do that when I go back into the final draft. I'm also reaching out to local organizations right now for letters of recommendation to include in the packet. EDC said they'd give us one. I have calls out to Stephanie and some other people. Grant requires a 25% match, but part of that can be in kind, including our own labor and materials. Spoke with Don about running the water line down there. We need a larger line, but he can do that. His time and the materials would count against the in-kind. We can fund any balance of the math with the loan from IDD or out of our capital budget, but we can cross that bridge when we get there.
Can we look at not paving and doing,
The parking lot's out here.
Yeah.
This parking lot and that one.
can we look at, because it's so close to the water, doing impervious?
That's what
Yeah.
I had put in the grant.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool. All right, good.
And it's pervious, not impervious.
Perfect. You know what I meant. And,
Yeah.
yeah, because I
So
don't
does-
know, I know the stormwater fees are in Kitsap are out of the world. I don't imagine we'll be too far behind someday.
So do we have to eliminate that section of the grant?
Yeah, I have to go into the grant.
So we're not gonna ask for paving in the grant? Okay.
So,
It'll still be a dirt parking lot.
yeah. We have a grant advisor, and she's gonna sit down with me and go through it line by line.
From RCO.
So, pardon?
Is
She's
it
from RCO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm
What's her
talking to
name?
the grant writer at the county, and she is looking at the stuff I'm doing too. She's been real helpful to me. So,
What's the RCO grant advisor?
Kim
Name?
Sellers.
Okay,
You know her?
no.
Yeah, oh, not Kim Sellers, no. Okay, WPPA meeting dates, the Finance and Administration Seminars, June 14th, 16th, Semiahmoo. Appears I'm the only one going. Executive Director's Annual Seminar is July 12th to 14th in Long Beach. Small Ports is October 25th, 27th at Leavenworth, and the annual meeting, November 15th, 17th in Seattle. Also, Suncadia is supposed to rebate us about $100 each for the fact we didn't have accessible TV in the condos there. So I'll be looking for it on my next credit card statement. I made a big statement
Good
about
job.
it, so.
Ice machine didn't work either.
Yeah.
It was one solid brick of ice. I couldn't even get it out.
And finally, vacation reminder, since I didn't take nearly as much time off from my hip surgery as I anticipated. I still have 4 vacation days from 2016, plus I didn't take any vacation time at all in 2015, and have some sick days accumulated. I'd like to take off July 18th to 25th, the week after Allyn Days. Planning a baseball game road trip with Bryce.
Great.
I'll take my iPad and have Outlook on the port's phone if I still need to be on top of anything. So that's my report.
Thanks, Larry. Travis, a security report for us today?
All right. Well, as you know, it was shrimp season this month. Yeah, very busy. Pretty good attendance, not as good as I've seen it in past years. But they did add another day, so we had a 5th day here, but it was in June instead of May. Was down there on both Saturday events. Don and I talked about it and agreed that I didn't need to be there on the Wednesday because the traffic's so much lighter. No real issues except on the 20th, the Saturday the 20th, I got a call from a lady complaining about a vehicle blocking her property alongside the road that around 11 o'clock, I mean, well after we had left. Told her, I mean, I'm not sure what you want me to do about it. If you want the vehicle towed, you might as well
They didn't
call a
wanna pay
towing
the
company.
parking?
And she's, well, I'll just let my husband deal with it, so.
So was it on port property?
No, it was not on port property, so I was just like, well, I can't help you there.
And we have signs on our property that say, well, about towing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we do have signs on our
Pay
property
for
about that.
parking.
But the first Saturday we did fill up our parking, but the second Saturday we did not. So it was kind of weird that she would say that, but anyway. Other than that, we've had more activity at night. I have told a few people to leave. Parking on the boat ramp at 1:30 in the morning probably isn't.
On the boat ramp?
Yeah, on the boat ramp. Yeah.
Oh, that might not be safe.
No. And they're like, oh, I got my car in reverse. What does that make any difference? Anyway, yeah, so the activity has increased, but that's what I'm here for. We've also put a doorway over here to kind of block off the section where the heat pump was. Puts the chairs in there so nobody can really sleep in there.
Live in there.
Was there people
Yeah,
sleeping
Don's
in
put a
there?
door up there too.
Okay.
Was there sleeping people?
Yeah, we had a person last month, 2 months ago now. A guy that actually had been criminally trespassed from the property from 2 years previous at the 4th of July celebration. And the cops had to herd him off the property. A little bit of chatter from Denise Wynn saying that that person that had been criminally trespassed is here with his brother in a vehicle, kind of coming in at night. I haven't been able to find him, and I've changed my pattern pretty regularly. She says a lot of stuff, and a lot of times it doesn't pan out to be anything.
So if she were to call 911, she could just say there's somebody that's been
Yeah,
trespassed off the property?
sure. And for her, though, it'd be like crying wolf because it's been over and over for as long as she's been there. So, otherwise, any questions for me?
I met with Jim Jessfield
Mm-hmm.
regarding some houses up there, and he gave me a little bit of an update on the person that was living in that house that we thought was parking there. The owner has passed away, and
Yeah.
that might be a relative, but there's no certainty of that.
Right.
And the cars are coming and going, and
The cars have not been coming and going
Oh,
since Mr. Boron's boat left.
okay.
There's no cars
Oh,
there
good,
now
good.
that boat's gone.
Is that
Yeah.
North
And he
Shore?
was the
Yeah,
one that
North
was
Shore.
parking there.
That's
Okay,
North
and that was
Shore,
the
right?
black pickup?
Yeah, it was the black pickup, right? I think it had dealer's plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Since he moved, he vacated his boat, there's been no real parking there whatsoever.
I would think with light till about after 9 o'clock now,
Right?
you're getting a lot less slinking around the shadows.
No, it's just people, visit the park more now that the weather's more moderate and, warmer.
The
So
neighbors are up
they're
on
staying
it too.
later.
I mean, the neighbors will like to kind of maybe figure out what's going on here.
I can hear it. Okay.
Absolutely.
A lot of fire.
Thank you.
Thanks, Travis. All right, under new business, we have, thanks to Leanne for pointing out that our next meeting is scheduled for July 3rd. which is part of the July 4th holiday, would we want to reschedule our regular meeting? And if it's not the next business day, it would be a special meeting.
Could we have it like that week, though?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna be in
Yeah, I
town
think-
all week.
I think you're supposed to anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, you have to have it, I think, the same week.
So I'm open to whatever you need. as long as it's
So
that
it'd be July 5th, would be a Wednesday.
Would be the
I'm fine with
Wednesday.
that. I'm good with that. That way they have a 4-day weekend.
Yeah,
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-day weekend, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 o'clock PM, Wednesday, July 5th.
Yep, so that'll be a special meeting.
So we'll have to cancel our regularly scheduled meeting and reschedule it for Wednesday the 6th.
5th,
5th.
Wednesday the
July.
5th at 6 PM,
correct.
sorry. Do we need a motion for that? Let's
think
go
we
ahead and
do.
motion it.
Yeah, I move that we move our regular port meeting from the 3rd of July to July 5th, 6 PM, which will be a special meeting.
So can you put it in that we're going to cancel the regularly scheduled meeting and we're going to schedule a special meeting for Wednesday, July 5th at 6 PM?
Yes, that sounds good.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Larry, you might find this as a surprise, but I was not able to read all the resolutions before the meeting today. So I'm going to read them.
They're not that long, are they?
No.
Yeah, no, they're not. Here's copies of them.
And I know they're mainly housekeeping
Signing
to
anyway, right, yeah.
get us with the Schedule
I
22
purposely
update.
kept them short.
Okay.
So if you bear with me,
And most of the language comes straight out of Schedule 22.
And just so the audience knows, it is mostly
9,
policy and procedures of financial issues and credit card and financial policies and procedures.
And most of this is housekeeping. It's stuff that we already do and procedures, the way that we already do them. The auditor just wants them codified as resolutions,
Yep.
so. But there are two on there that are new to us. One is the asset tracking, which has never been done here. And the other one is anytime we have a change in personnel that handles petty cash, that the account has to be reconciled.
When
That
you're done,
one-
tell me, I'll read it.
Is that one 30?
This is the last two,
Okay,
77 and 78.
377 and 378.
Okay, and here's there. And I'll read them.
So the two that we are not doing, the rest we already do, correct?
Yeah, the rest of them we're already doing. We've just never made resolutions.
How about if I read those two while you're
Sure.
busy there, Scott?
Sure.
Resolution 377 is create a policy and procedure stating that the port will have a capital asset policy that quantifies the dollar amount of which a disbursement is considered a capital expenditure and details how capital assets are recorded and tracked. Also, this policy should define the criteria for classifying small and attractive assets and their recording. Resolution 378 is create a policy and procedure stating that the port will establish a system tracks all assets in a written and computerized tracking system to assist the port identify any lost or appropriated items.
Okay, so there is one in there too about the petty cash. You might want to read that one.
Yeah, let me find that one. Which one is that one?
is it the submission of a fully itemized travel expense voucher?
Yeah, see, we already do that.
It might be 375, which is create a policy procedure stating that if petty cash is
Yeah.
dispersed,
Yeah.
it must be replenished periodically, monthly, or as often as warranted by
Which we
warrant.
already do.
Okay. Well, is this still another,
So now we just have a resolution that we do it,
Okay.
even
Yeah.
though we do it already.
That's what most of this
Right.
stuff is.
Okay.
Okay, I got like 3 left here.
It's stuff we already do that the auditor wants resolutions resolutions for. And it's not just us, I want to make this real clear to everybody in the audience too. It's not just us, it's every junior taxing district got this. It's called Schedule 22 from the auditor about all of your financial policies and how you do things, and it's just, there's 131 items on it. Tonight we get through 56, and out of that we've only had to do a dozen resolutions.
So,
And I think about 40 of the questions are fire districts and conservation districts don't apply to us out of those 130.
does that make sense?
Well, it's more of a statement. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
statement.
Sure didn't see
I
that.
sent you all a copy of it with my marked up notes.
Proper English.
And the resolutions are all right, the actual resolution is right here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The physical
The
one.
one that he was questioning about making sense, because I don't, do you folks have copies of, do they have copies of
We
these?
have 3 sets of them
Okay.
back there.
Well, it's Resolution 371, and we'll probably be voting on 371 through 378. 371 is reaffirm that the port's written travel reimbursement policy does not discriminate between commissioners and employees. That's the correct one you're talking about.
All right,
So-
I've read them all. I don't
Yeah.
have any questions.
So-
Entertain a motion to
You wanna do
accept.
all of them or just read one?
We can do them all together.
Okay, that
Well,
sounds
I'll
good.
make a motion to accept resolutions 371 through 378. These resolutions are credit card and financial policy procedure.
Can I have a second?
I have a second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Motion
Aye.
carries.
Sign away.
Go back to the
Oh,
agenda
yeah,
here.
we need to sign everything.
I have one item also that's not on the agenda. It came to me at 4:36 p.m. today. It's from Elizabeth Wooten, who is the consultant working on the Allyn Transportation Plan. It said, "Hi Larry, we're starting to put together the draft plan, and one issue that arose in the process was the presence of commuter parking in downtown Allyn and the need for designated park and ride parking. An idea we've been thinking about internally is the idea to use a portion of the Port of Allyn parking area for this purpose, and I definitely want to hear your thoughts on the idea. Please let me know if you have some time this week to discuss." And I just responded that we all had a meeting tonight, I would bring it up to you guys, because that was above my pay grade. So,
So currently, they're using down by Sherwood Creek, you know that, right?
yeah.
And there's not that much they use. I'd say on a given day, maybe 10 cars. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I drive by there every day, maybe 10.
Maybe, yeah. That's being generous, I think. Yeah.
We have 3 out here.
So,
Three
yes, right now we
commuters.
have like 13.
Yeah.
A couple of the big
Do we
roads.
allow long-term parking here?
In the afternoon,
Do we have to give them
there's a school
permission,
bus
or-
stop out here. We get a bunch of them out here for about 15 or 20 minutes every afternoon.
Sergeant Webster's house and then
So maybe are we talking maybe
working on that.
15 to 20 cars if they all parked in one spot?
This is as much as I know is what she sent me right here.
Maybe we could get more information and talk about it
Okay.
at a workshop or a,
Okay.
because
Just trying to-
I would be,
The problem is the sequence is off in a decade, because they've come to tip cap and they've come to,
You need to.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Speak.
Jeff Carey. On the subject of the transit parking or whatever, you know. Anyway, it's come up in the tip caps meeting down at the county. And so they were working through all the different Allyn attributes, trying to work the circulation, trying to work the right-of-ways, trying to work roads and what have you. So they're trying to wrap this up, unfortunately, probably the end of this month or the very beginning of next month before they go on to Belfair. So unfortunately, they didn't give you any time in the scheme of things.
yeah,
I know, as I recall in the past, the ports looked at it, but I don't remember what the outcome was, or why we didn't or did when we were working with Mason Transit on those
We
different
never did
projects.
really do anything.
So if you had a bus pulling in here 2 or 3 times a day, they'd have to kind of go down the road, right by houses, probably come up here.
They may not,
When they go to the bus stop.
They could stop at the stop and people would just park here.
Okay,
I think that's, first of all, there's no criteria laid out on it, just that they were looking at how do we address, interim transit type
Sure.
parking and things of that nature.
You don't want them in retail spots like at QFC or, for Belfair side, but they don't want them at the restaurant or.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's the issue. Technically, I'm putting words in their mouths, but they've said, if you look at area-wide, there's probably sufficient parking for what businesses and different entities are here. It's just how it's laid out and how it doesn't work and doesn't flow and all the different issues about pedestrian activities or what have you. So, but anyway, I would look at your old notes from when, Bonnie was working with
Right.
the transit, see where we, what hung us up, or if
Well,
anything.
we were thinking about having it up there, having a parking right up there, right
Yeah.
behind here, yeah.
Yeah, they ever heard.
Right, but we,
Well,
well,
Yeah, no problem.
Well,
I just,
okay.
have part along the fence.
I'm just,
yeah, it was actually gonna be
back
cleared that
behind
way.
the Gunderson's house up there,
Okay.
where that's at.
Kind of.
The old Gunderson house, which is back up where, it's up where the, what's that building?
well,
The vacant lot up there.
yeah, no, I'm just thinking,
Yeah, but I don't
Gunderson's
think-
been in a number of different lots, so that's why I'm
Yeah.
moving, my mind's jumping for different decades where they had property, didn't have property. Anyway, that's just background from, at least from what I recall, the tip cap side, is that they saw sufficient parking around, they were trying to figure out how to maybe facilitate or, make recommendation towards, some transit type
But do I
parking.
understand it right, that we're not gonna have enough time to actually,
Well,
If we have a workshop, we might be able to.
well,
If
yeah.
they need it right away.
I do not know for sure. I think
We
the
just got
tar-
the email today.
I got this
I
email.
hope they don't need it right away.
Yeah,
well, they've had all the public hearings last month.
Hmm.
So, and they were trying to wrap, in fact, they had one earlier and then second one here in Allyn last month, trying to pull it all together and what have you, so.
maybe we might wanna call them and find out when they need a decision by.
I can email her back.
Anyway, that's just
Thank you,
background.
Jeff.
All right. Any other old business? You want to talk about rental of the office space?
Yeah, you guys want to talk about that? Do you want to do something with that?
I
or-
would be in support of a day-by-day rental rather than a long-term rental, because if we give up that space, and I believe we give it up for long-term,
yeah.
and if we ever need it,
probably.
then we're in an issue,
Is
but
it big enough to really do much?
it's pretty small.
You know what I was thinking is for, home-based businesses, where we could put a desk in there and a little table like we have in my office and in Leanne's. And if somebody wants to come, if they have to meet with clients or something
Yeah.
and need a location, that they could just rent it for the day.
So-
Tutors for
That would
the
work.
school, we've
Yeah.
had a tutor meeting
So-
here, and they use the whole
I have
downstairs.
a
and
suggestion we might use it
Yeah.
for.
Kid.
That's a good
So in
idea.
Allyn, we don't really have a place for the small business to come in with their laptop maybe and make a copy or do something like that, use a fax machine or use our email.
Yeah.
Fax machine, what's that?
I know. Use our email to send it, we could have a scan,
Yeah.
for a small business, and they can bring their laptop and do some business, bring some copies.
Mhm.
And then we can charge them for that copies, of course.
Yep.
And then,
That's what you were saying, like an incubator.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like, you can send out, 'cause I send, for the business, I would send everything out, scan and email, I didn't fax anything.
And the library's closed on Mondays,
Yeah.
so if you do want to go get a quiet spot and study or do some research or,
Yeah.
But it's a little more private than the
yeah.
library, too.
Well, and the library has a small room like that, which is the room
Okay.
that I always use when I go there. And you have to reserve it, and
So how do you advertise that? On the web or on our
What I do
website?
is I'd put it on our Facebook page,
Okay.
put it on our website, tell the EDC and,
Maybe we should,
chamber and anybody else.
Well, I'm for it. I think it'd be a good idea.
Well, because then you can put on there, you know, we have a notary, right?
Yeah,
We have that available.
We have
We
it-
have,
we
you know,
have
you can make
internet there.
copies here. You can.
Fiber.
Yeah, you have fiber, so you can email fast and
Separate
send
gas.
out.
well, maybe we'll have fiber again tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. As of yesterday. But we should come up with a price schedule and bring it to our next meeting for approval. or
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the next meetings.
That's great, yeah.
The bit of old business I have is I got Lynette phone number. I'm gonna call her. We're gonna meet, try to clear the air with some of the Duato. So she's the board chair from Duato.
And
And
she's the executive director?
no, she's
No,
the
it's-
board chair, Lynette.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
Lynette. We still want to have a joint meeting? I mean, is that still something we want to
I
do?
sent Leanna an email, said we did, and, you know, send me some dates that would work, and haven't heard back.
I want to make sure.
When is the Port of Duato's meeting? Is it the
I
third?
think it's a Wednesday, I believe, and for some reason, I think
think
it's
you're
the
right.
third
The
Wednesday.
third Wednesday of every month?
Yeah, I think, I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'll go on their website and look real quick.
McLean.
Is it?
Thank you. It's Lynette McLean.
McLean.
Yes. Any other old business?
No.
Okay. Public comment?
Commissioners, for the record, Ken Van Buskirk. I live in Belfair. I was invited after that last Port of Allyn meeting where the folks from Duato came. I was invited to attend their meeting on May 17th, which I did, and I understand that the commissioners are sending you all a letter.
Okay.
I don't think it's been approved yet. But I obtained a copy of the approved minutes from April 17th, and I'd like to read them into your record. It was asked by Larry Capola, Executive Director of Port of Allyn, that a letter written by him be read into the record at this meeting. The letter is attached. It was stated that the Port of Allyn's not interested, never was interested in annexing or merging with the Port of Duato. Commissioner McLean stated that Mr. Capola and Leanne Dennis from the Port of Allyn came to the Port of Duato building and asked Director Kreutzer and herself what we felt about merging. Director Kreutzer agreed that they came and asked us this. The community asked that this statement be added into the minutes since the letter from Mr. Capola was contradictory to what he said, to what we said happened. The community asked if there was any work going on between the ports of Duato and Port of Allyn. Commissioner McLean and Edwards both spoke of what contact they had had with the Port of Allyn in the recent past, and it was asked that that be recorded in the minutes. Commissioner McLean stated that she had come to the port building the day Mr. Capola and Mrs. Dennis came to the building. She had arrived after they had been at the building about 15 minutes. Mr. Capola asked her how she felt about a merger between the Port of Allyn and Duato. She said she did not know how she felt at that time. Director Kreutzer stated that Mr. Capola and Mrs. Dennis came to the building to come see the place, as Mr. Capola had never seen the building. She was thankful for the help they'd offered in the past and thought they had come to give some advice on some things she was dealing with for the port. Shortly after they walked in, Mr. Capola asked Mrs. Kreutzer what she felt about a merger. He brought up that we would be able to use the maintenance guys from their port as we would be one, and we could call it, quote, the North Mason Port District. And I'd like you to consider this, folks, when you do your executive director's performance rating. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Jeff?
Jeff Carey. Well, since you got the Allen request, you might as well get tuned up for the Belfair request, because that's coming, and I don't know, but as I recall, it's supposed to be wrapped up this year. I don't know if it's by October, November, but I do know that their budget is significantly larger for the work they have to do in Belfair than in Allyn. And so I don't know the time frame, but so things like parking or same type of issues, different scale, different projects, different things, related to economic development, improvements for transportation, that kind of thing. Both pedestrian as well as, vehicles, as well as whatever else, whether they're bikes, bicycles, I'm sure, and things of that nature. So that they should be beginning sometime in July, early August, as my recollection of the schedule when it begins. But so at least you don't have it like this time where it's at the end. At least it's coming, and at least you can be thinking about projects for the Belfair.
Jeff, is this pretty much like a study or just a report? What is their scope? You kind of explained it, but can you tell me more what their scope is?
I can at least tell you from the standpoint of Allyn, because they do have, first of all, the county commissioners have created a scope of work, or not commissioners, but Public Works has created a scope of work both for Allyn and Belfair, so that's already created. I cannot recall what Belfair is at this moment, but they're generally the same. But for example, to give you an idea with Allyn, it was dealing with circulation, and so they started looking at everything from pedestrian traffic to accident traffic to, and what they're trying to look at is, in the case of Allyn, is how to get circulation, how to get access to the water, people off the hill, the right-of-ways. There's 3¼ miles of right-of-ways that have been vacated through one version or another, through the last 120 some years. You don't have those problems obviously in Belfair, but you do have the same type, like the issue of circulation. How do you get out and around, town? Because the way it is right now, it's kind of like you have at least kind of two ways out, but two at the north and one at the south. But they're going to look at those kind of things and look at projects. It's more or less how to set up the urban core to allow some circulation so that we're not bogged down in the different problems we have. Obviously, when the Belfair bypass finally comes, that will alleviate one type of issue, but still, like from basically 302, not 302, but 300 and Highway 3 north through the rest of the UJ, you have to long-term work out how the circulation is going to be through there. Right. And that's what they're going to be looking at. It's something, so when they come back, they're going to create a report. My impression or interpretation is that they're going to create a report that would allow the commissioners to determine certain directions to head. In the context of Allyn, it was done in looking two things: access to the waterfront and circulation pedestrian that way, and then the right-of-ways within the plat of Allyn, because there's so many lots and it's so difficult to get things done in the plat, both from banks as well as financing, as well as who has right-of-ways and who doesn't. And it's like you have the franchise agreement when you're on Lakeland Drive, but you don't need any franchise agreement when you're in the plat, which will come and bite us in the end later on. But it's not, the tip cap from the county committee is, press the point that we're not after building more roads, but if you got right-of-ways, then at least get the right-of-ways back in control, that we can later figure out how we're going to finance the road, or how builders are going to finance it, or who's going to finance it, to what extent, all those aspects. But without the right-of-ways, it's just a mess. On a different scale, bigger but smaller, meaning bigger in the sense of more area, smaller in the sense less property owners involved. You have, an issues like that dealing with Belfair, but it's a lot more open from, anything from Bow Road, to any of those different ways to loop through, and the issues of also, with the River Hill and, Newkirk Road, and so anyway, it's kind of like they're preparing a report, at least in the case of Allyn, they're preparing a report we'll go to the commissioners, Public Works and the commissioners, and say, okay, this is what this will do if you do these kind of changes. What's the financial impact? What's, what does it all do? And it is our hope, at least taking Allyn, to at least address the right-of-ways and get control back in county hands so that people can do something with their property. In the case of Belfair, I don't remember all the functions of it because it's not in my head. We went through it, but it's just not in my head right now. So, but it's similar, but it's different, but just because you got different lots layout, different terrain and all that. So anyway, that's it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
I have one comment.
Sure.
I think Leanne and I would dispute the Port of Duano's version of events.
Okay.
I think there was such blowback from that community there.
There was just weird.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Just throwing out whatever
Okay.
ideas we could think of.
I do have something.
Gene?
Sorry.
Just, we might want to add to our website information about how long the Victor Road's going to be closed.
Oh,
Got my first person
Yeah.
in today, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna do a
yeah.
map of.
And
how to
it's
get
pretty,
around.
it's going to be pretty serious because
it's gonna be a while.
if you've driven the road, it's pretty bad. But, and it has to be done. It's going to take longer, I guess, than it was originally thought of. And that's going to put the traffic going through Belfair now.
Yeah.
And that's going to, and we already know how bad that is.
We do.
And the other question I had, to see if you could check it out, a month or two ago, somebody hit the Welcome to Allyn sign and knocked it down, and so all there is a post sitting there. And I don't know if it's up to us or the
No, I
Allyn
think-
Community Association.
I think Don could fix that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but all there is a post there.
what happened to the sign?
I have no
Is the
idea.
sign on?
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
don't
So-
know.
originally installed that sign.
Did you?
Did you
A lot of
really?
years
Oh, so
ago.
Travis can fix it.
Yeah.
I can fix it. Well, I can't fix it
But-
if you can't find it.
Well, we need it replaced, and so I don't know if it's up to us or the ACA to do that.
Who made the original sign? Do you remember?
I don't.
Oh, was it?
Okay.
Okay,
I know Bonnie had them made by somebody.
Right.
And
yeah,
I just put them up.
the same
Yeah.
same
Put up
vendor
every
that they've
sign.
From
been,
Olympia.
I
yeah.
put up the school bell sign, I put it, the
Oh,
veteran
did you
sign,
really?
and the two signs on either end of the highway.
Well, obviously, we don't need Don to do it.
No, we have
You
to
know, the ACA was the one that,
Purchase
put
them.
that up.
yeah.
But we need
I'll
to,
give Richard a call. and-
I'd like to see if we can get it done for Allen Days.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Welcome to the Port of Allyn.
I do have
We'll put one of our signs there.
There you go.
Do that.
Oh,
No, that was all.
It looks like somebody hit our one on
Or
Highway
face it.
3 because it's bent, I noticed the other day.
The one on, I think it is Highway 3, yeah. And then somebody,
You're right by the county line there.
yeah, somebody
Up
hit a
Kitsap
sign on the
End?
North Shore,
On the
yeah.
Kitsap End, really?
It's
Darn.
bad.
Did they? On the north
Well, no, the North Shore
There's one. there's
entrance
one-
sign was gone, but somebody fixed it. It's just, it's like this now rather than straight, but it's back up.
Oh, okay.
You
I
had something?
suggest you call Como TV. They've been talking for the last week about the Case Inlet in Belfair.
All right, yeah.
Problem, yeah.
Oh, because of our little fish issue that
Yeah,
has
the
happened.
fish issue.
The
So we
fish
could
kill.
probably ask our Fish and Wildlife man over here, are those sardines or anchovies, Sergeant Jackson? That's what I think too.
Well, I never knew there were anchovies out here. That was
So
something
for the
new.
last 6 years, this has happened out here. Tom has had to deal with it with the oyster business. And at minus tides and
Yeah.
the low oxygen, they get trapped in these pools and then they die. A lot of them die, like this thick die.
Wow.
And they get washed
That's
up
why
on the
the
shore.
seagulls are out there.
So that the seagulls for the first, no, the eagles for the first 2 days will eat the stomach and the liver. And then after that, then we won't. And so everybody's complaining that it just is,
Dawn's been
Oh.
asking me why the seagulls are so bad right now, and I said,
That's
I do know
why.
there's one time a year where they come and they're more, but it's not like this.
no, it's really, there's certain pockets that are
Okay.
really bad.
Yeah, okay.
And
Minus
like there was,
tides,
our
yeah.
nursery is
It's
over
not
here, we
dead,
can't
too.
even do anything with it.
Sure.
That explains a
You have
lot.
something?
Yeah, just
Well, just be thankful
information.
it's not a whale. That would be there all summer long.
Commissioner Stout has the floor.
Down there. I don't think we'll be doing that this
Oh,
summer.
go ahead, Commissioner Scott.
Okay. I just wanted to tell everybody, there's an online survey link from WashDOT, and it's the
Did it?
corridor sketch phase 2. If you haven't already done that
Yeah, I
online
filled that
survey,
out.
please do. It's really important that you let your voice be heard. That's it.
Thank you. Do we want to schedule a workshop for June?
I think it'd be
I
wise.
think we should.
Okay.
I'm good after 6. We're at 6.
I might have a water
Hey,
My last nerve.
Let's see, you're usually the one that we,
So you're gonna go in
I
here.
think, well, I have PR, nobody likes Fridays.
no, Fridays are bad, just because of traffic.
He's gonna be gone.
Larry will be gone 14th,
Yeah.
15th.
I'm gonna try to go to that Porta Delgado thing.
How about the 20th at 6?
Sure.
I could do that too.
20th?
Yeah.
Tuesday the 20th. Oh, wait a
I
minute.
might not make that.
No, that's no good for me.
Okay.
Monday the 19th?
Yeah, I can do that.
I could do Monday the
I
19th.
can do that too.
I'll still be out of town, but that's okay.
Okay.
So we wanna do Monday the 19th?
6 o'clock
Yes.
PM upstairs.
Monday, horsey
jealous.
trips.
And I know that we wanted Lynn from the EDC here once a quarter, so we haven't had her here for the second quarter.
Okay, I'll remind her.
And we should invite her to our regular meeting
Yeah.
rather than our,
I'd rather have
Special
her
meeting, yeah.
come to those so
Yeah.
everybody can get educated.
Okay, so the 19th we'll do a workshop, right?
yes. All right.
What are the dates that the road's gonna be closed?
I don't know, I just read it today.
Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah, it's longer than what they anticipated, because it's worse than what it's bad.
They're gonna have to rebuild that whole bank.
I think they're gonna, what did I read tonight?
I thought they were gonna shift the road over.
That's what I heard, that's what I read
They're gonna
too,
shift the
yeah.
road over like.
They're gonna have to,
There's
and
no
then,
other option.
yeah. Poor guy that has the house right up there. Oh, man, that's rough.
Do
And
you have
welcome,
a-
by the way.
No, thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay. I do have a invitation to members and friends of the EDC along with the chamber. Did everybody get this?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're having a health transit power luncheon, June
I
9th,
didn't get that.
11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'll send it to Larry.
Can you send it to him so he can
Yep.
send it to me?
That is this Friday at
Sounds
11:30.
I just knew I wasn't gonna be
Sounds like a church one.
Must be why it's Christmas Eve.
And then there is the Chambers After Hours event, which is this Thursday
I'll be at that also.
at Explore
Okay.
HCC at Union Square. So it must be Hood Canal
It
Communications.
is. Sound
Yes.
by the Oliver.
Oh, it is, yes. 5 o'clock PM at the HCC office in Union, 300 East Dalby Road,
When is it?
This Thursday.
Thursday at 5
Thursday.
o'clock.
Okay.
I think they're celebrating 50 years, is that right?
Wow.
I think I read that somewhere. I RSVP'd already for that.
Then the North Mason Chamber has invited us to a chamber etiquette breakfast.
Do we need to go?
I might.
It's at 7:30 a.m. at the
Some of
Bistro
us
at Lakeland
maybe.
Village. And it's winning dining etiquette. That isn't my role. Featuring Stephanie Rowland. So bring your etiquette pet peeves and burning questions to this special presentation by Chamber
At
President
7:30 in the morning?
Stephanie Rowland, who has been teaching etiquette for more than 20 years. Walk away with a new confidence and never question whose role it is again. ROLL.
First time I ever met her was she was putting that on at the Port Orchard Chamber years ago.
Breakfast etiquette
Just
Just
business etiquette.
or business etiquette? Well, that's all I have for good to the order. I would, if there's no other
And we're getting busy next month with festivals.
festivals, and then we got
Festivals in July and August.
budgets
Yeah.
in August. So I would entertain a
Move to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
A second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.